Hi, everyone, and welcome to Grow Your Home Service Business Even When You're Busy. I am your host today, Jen Karsner, and I am super excited to be here with all of you. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. We have a really incredible, impactful webinar with tons of insightful information planned for you guys today. We have two really great speakers that I'll be introducing in just a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So today is all about the home services industry, and really it's no secret that the world has changed drastically in 2020, as we all know, and as we kind of come to an end and a close, right? And we've been living through a pandemic. We've witnessed businesses closing, operations changing, and what seems to be a pause in time, while time is still going very quickly and very fast. And nevertheless, just because some businesses have experienced a setback doesn't mean that you really can't still make that full recovery that you're looking to make here in 2021. Or maybe, with these home services being the way that they are right now, your business is thriving more than ever and you're feeling overwhelmed and not really sure how to keep up with the momentum. We've seen so many positive shifts within the home service industry, and that's exactly what we're going to be covering today on our webinar. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and let me just introduce you guys to our brand. Marketing technology changes day by day and has really become strategic, to increase overall efficiency and stay on top of competitors. So as our company, Local IQ, in conjunction with our organizations, Reach Local, we are the digital marketing experts amongst communities. We have deep, deep roots in over 260 communities across the country. And it's our passion to help local businesses and communities grow and thrive. And what I love the most about our company is that we have uniquely engaged local audiences, industry-leading technology, deep digital marketing expertise, and insights from over 300,000 clients across the United States. So we're really excited to be sharing all of this insight and information with all of you. And before we get started, I wanted to do just a little bit of housekeeping today. So first things first, I would love all of you guys to use the chat. And I know that some of us are already using it currently, which is awesome. So if you do me a favor, at the top of your screen, you're going to see three little dots and it says more, and you're going to click chat. When you see that chat box at the bottom, you'll see a blue little drop-down menu, and it'll say panelist or panelist and attendees. I want you guys to take a second and switch that to panelists and attendees so that if you do have a question or if we're asking you all questions, you guys can engage in conversation. So the way that I can know that you guys have all done that, if you will all just take a second and type in the chat box who you are and where you're from in the world today. I want to just see where everybody is that's listening on the call. So we will be asking some questions, and we will try to get to answer as many of your questions as humanly possible. But if we don't, in the event that we don't, we will be sending out follow-up information post-webinar. So I did see that somebody did just ask, what will we be getting a recording? So you absolutely will be getting a recording today at the end of the webinar, along with a workbook that we partner with the two that you can take back to your team, you can work with yourself, and it really breaks down all of the points that we're going to be talking about today, and it really pairs well with the webinar. So you'll get that recording. Also, we really want you to make sure that you stay on until the very end. The reason why is because if you haven't already heard, we're going to be giving away $500 to one lucky winner at the end of this webinar. And we'll actually announce the webinar winner, that's a mouthful, through the email that we send after the event. That's going to include the workbook. So be sure you click on that email to find out if you've won that $500, but the only requirement is that you stay on the webinar until the end of us delivering all of the information. So I feel like everybody should be able to do that and get a nice little chunk of change for the holiday season coming up. And we'll be sure to reach out to the person that wins to get all of your information to get that for you. I am totally loving all of these chats coming in, all the people saying hi, letting us know where you are. I see we have, somebody's from St. Cloud, Minnesota. My family's from there, so that's exciting, which is a really small town. We live in Princeton. We have Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Houston, go Texas. I'm in Dallas, and Philadelphia, awesome. I'm loving all these places, New York, New Mexico. Great. So you guys obviously know how the chat box works. So I want to encourage you to interact. When we ask questions, feel free to respond. If you need to ask a question or make a statement or a comment, you'll use that chat box to do it. And we're going to also be giving you guys a survey at the end of this as well. So let's just keep it moving. We're excited to be here and excited to get started. So today's agenda, we're going to be talking all about these 3 high-level points: customer journey and what it looks like with increased search volume and more people online right now. We're going to talk to you about how you're going to stand out within a crowded marketplace and how you can set yourself apart in what seems to be an overly saturated market, but there's so much business to go around. And then we're going to talk about how you can generate even more leads even when you're busy and how to be the most efficient with that. So if you are really busy, we're going to talk about how you really narrow down that niche audience and that you're getting the most effective target customer within those leads, and then how to turn those leads into even more leads and to how to maintain those efficiently. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get us started right now. And I want to bring us right here to the marketing minute, right? So we know that with more people at home, there's more people online than ever. In fact, 28% of adults are constantly online all day, every day. I don't know what they're doing online all day, every day, but I think that's pretty interesting to know that 28% of all adults are constantly online every day. And as more and more people are joining online and more people are staying home, the minute has actually amplified. So what you're seeing on the screen here right now is what happens within 1 minute of a day. How many people are on all of these social sites? They're online, they're searching, they're on Facebook. It's the number of Google searches, Facebook posts, WhatsApp messages, everything that's sent within 60 seconds. And it's incredible to know. This is just so interesting and so exciting, right? And so you guys are probably wondering, Jen, what does this mean for me, right? I'm in a home service industry. Like, why do I need to know about what's happening every minute of the day? Well, the point is that with more people home and more people staying local, there's less traveling going on, less people going out, more people are spending time online than ever, which means that they're searching online more than ever, And what we want you to really take away from this, especially, is that with more people staying home, more people having more time, right? It equals these new projects. People are switching up their homes or their businesses to make sure that they ensure a health and safe sanctuary place for their home. And they're really trying to fit in their new normal and their new lifestyle into their home life. So it's super exciting for all of you, because what this means is that there's so much more business for all of you guys to go around. People are looking to stay productive and are interested in small projects around their house that they can own. But a lot of people don't know how to own those things themselves. So they're looking to paint walls, touch-ups, they're doing gardening for sustainability, they're organizing and styling their pantries and closets, they're redoing their home offices, and they're making more space for things that they need. So we know that this is what people are looking for right now, not only just because this is the research that we've done, but our company actually conducted a research that shows all of this data and information. So as we stay home, we're seeing that the household needs are shifting. Things that consumers would normally spend money on, right? So like if you're commuting to work, but now you work from home, they're taking that percentage of income that they would normally spend and they're putting it back into things that they need and updates on their home or on their lawn or putting in new pools or projects that they didn't focus on before, right? We're also seeing 48% of people shifting their budgets from vacations now to improvements within their home and home services. So you guys are doing pretty well, which is exciting. And then 52% of people are shifting that restaurant budget because we're not really going out as much as before. And they're repurposing their budgets and they're moving it into their homes and they're completing things that they need to get done. And not just need, but it's more even just like a want, right? A lot of times with home services, people are doing things last minute and it's not as much as a luxury. But now with all of these people staying home, we're starting to see that they're looking to invest more in the luxuries of maintaining their home and that side project that they've always wanted to do or that kitchen remodel. So spending is actually on the rise. And we've really seen this new focus on the home front. Average home services spending for households who took on projects rose to $13,000. Okay, just in the last year. That's exciting. It's unfortunate that we're in a pandemic, but it's exciting for your industry. And so you guys are probably wondering, like, okay, Jen, why do we need you? Why, if there's all of this business going around, why are we having this webinar today? And we're going to talk a lot about that. And in order to talk a lot about that, what I want to do is I want to bring on one of our experts. His name's Eric Fay, and he's a senior sales engineer. And he's going to talk through the customer journey and kind of show us a little bit of where those pivots have been throughout this year and what trends we're seeing and kind of ground us in that customer journey. So everybody, I want you to welcome Eric on. So can everybody give Eric a nice warm welcome in the chat box for me, please? Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, Jen. Thanks for inviting me to this webinar. Happy to be here. Happy to share some knowledge that we're seeing. As you mentioned, I'm a senior sales engineer with Local IQ, and I'm really focused in the home services industry. So this last couple of years, that's kind of been my primary focus, working with our largest home service clients from a national, local, regional level. And this year, we've seen some challenges earlier on, but a lot of inspiration, a lot of hope going forward that we're seeing definitely a rebound in this industry. As you've just covered, the focus has been on home and staying in the home and improving the home more than ever in the last few years. And we're looking forward into 2021, embracing that growth and kind of sharing with you guys on this call today some deeper level insights of how we can really harness this growth and how you can optimize your campaigns and get in front of the right target audiences to really accelerate your sales into next year.
I love it. Thank you so much, Eric. That was like the perfect opening for sure. So bravo. So let me ask you this. What does the customer tend to look like for the home services client? Like what's an ideal client that we can look for?
Sure, great question. So the last probably 5 to 10 years, the focus really has been primarily on baby boomer segments. As we know, they tend to be the largest population. They have been for a long time. They tend to be the largest in terms of home ownership as well. And a lot of them are living in those aging homes that do need attention, remodels, repairs, things like that. Just recently, though, we've seen, especially before 2020, the economy was improving, and millennials actually have now overtaken baby boomers in terms of total population size, and they're just right now at the tipping point of being new homeowners and buying homes. Now, the other kind of key thing about millennials and why they are such a good target audience going into 2020, 2021, in the next 5 years is they still can't necessarily afford home construction, brand new homes. They're looking to invest wisely in what they can afford in homes. So they're buying those homes that are a little bit more older, aging in those suburbs. So what we're seeing with this new home ownership trend, they're buying homes, they're moving in, and they need to immediately make fixes, repairs, and also they're starting families as well too. This is kind of the tipping point. So they're going to be expanding into those homes over the next 10 to 20 years, growing their families into those. They're going to need a lot of education, a lot of awareness about home repair, home remodels, those types of projects. So this is primed to be the next largest segment of generational customers that you should be focusing on, not just purely kind of the baby boomers, which has been the core segment and still will be for a long period. But now the largest growth was what we're seeing in home ownership is really with this older millennial ages 35 to 44 audience.
Oh, I think that's super interesting. And I was actually just talking yesterday to a realtor because I'm looking to buy my first home. and I'm right at that 35 mark. And I'm like, okay, so what are the benefits? Should I buy an older home and redo it? Should I build a new home? What should I do? And it can be overwhelming. And I do need a lot of education on it. So I definitely understand. And I know that, buying aging homes, millennials, they need to modify and upgrade. And so I think let's dive a little bit deeper into those specific two demographics, the baby boomers and the older millennials, just so we can kind of really like hone in on what they're looking at.
Definitely. So this next slide really breaks down those two core demographic or generation groups. And it's interesting, again, we see some similarities, especially when it comes to the type of homes they're living in, the size of homes, the need because of the age of the home for improvements and things like that. But there's also some unique differences in terms of obviously lifestyle, but also what motivates them about home improvement or home repair. So I'm going to start with baby boomers first, just because we're probably all kind of very familiar with baby boomers, and we've heard the trends for the last 20 years about baby boomers and their needs. And again, they are significant. 76% of them are homeowners. This segment's more likely to live in those older homes, 30 years plus. So they're in need of things like a new roof, a new HVAC system, expanding the home somewhat as well, because these homes tend to be smaller when they were built a long time ago. Now they're expanding. So things like sunrooms,
Got it.
decks, patios. This group's really more motivated now because a lot of them tend to want to age in place. They are getting kind of older in their years, and they don't necessarily want to go to a retirement community or things like that. They're looking to age in place comfortably and also safely. So that includes things like having walk-in tubs in their bathrooms, having stair lifts if they are kind of in need of those things in dual level homes. And there's generally overall being in a safer spot so they can age comfortably in those homes. Again, just touching on the age of their homes, there's definitely still a need for things like instant repair or home systems that need attention and maintenance, or new installs. So that's still a big part of this segment and their needs. And then finally, because they are kind of independent now, they're living on their own, the children have moved out of the home, they can use that disposable income instead of spending that on their families before, they can actually have their dream house, so to speak. So that includes remodels, things like having their dream bathroom, especially now that everyone's cooking a lot more, having a dream kitchen is something I'm sure everyone's thinking about every day as they're cooking dinner or making lunch. And then other things are outside of the home, even the dream backyard, the dream fire pit, the dream deck, just really having that kind of safe at-home lifestyle that they've always thought of. And now with COVID and this year being stuck at home, it's even more top of mind.
Got it.
Looking at more of the millennials, or what we call the older millennials. Millennials are kind of a wide age range, but we're really looking at ages 35 to 44. And that also kind of includes a bit of an older segment called young Gen Xers. That's kind of the segment between millennials and baby boomers. These are families for the most part, or people starting families. And so that's provoking them to buy a new home and to move into that and grow their families. We see that about 64% of this group are homeowners. But as I mentioned, even though that percentage is a little bit smaller than baby boomers, the total population for millennials has now exceeded this year the total population of baby boomers. And so as that continues to grow, we'll see a lot more homeowners joining this group. Some of the needs that motivate this group include things like updating their style of the home. They might be moving into a home that hasn't been updated in the last 20 years. So they need to make those updates instantly to the kitchen, to the bathroom, things like that. And then also, again, growing their family needs. They're expanding their families, they're having more children. They need to plan accordingly for that. So adding a bathroom, finishing a basement renovation, things like that are important and top of mind with this group. Again, because they are kind of more able to afford kind of a smaller size, older home with their incomes. Those older homes still need attention with maintenance and repairs. And then finally, the other thing, this mindset we need to understand about the millennial, they look at homes more as a piece of property, of value that they're investing in. And then, in 10 to 20 years, they might move out and sell the home, and they want to have a good return in their investment. So they're looking at things that increase the home's property value and also the efficiency of the home. And that efficiency includes things that will save them not just money over a long period of time, but also the time, the maintenance, the chores of home ownership that a lot of these millennials don't quite understand what they're getting into yet, but they soon will. So they're looking for solutions like that.
Yeah, I love that. And again, like I said, definitely researching some of those things. And then my dad is like in the baby boomer stage and owns a couple different properties, and he's always redoing stuff. And he used to do everything himself, and now he's to the point where he's like, oh man, like I can't move like I used to, and I'm gonna have to start hiring people. And I just like went through a Rolodex with him of like, here are all the contractors, here are all the home service departments that you need to be searching on. And so he's always been like more of a DIY person, but now he's at that age where he can't really do it anymore. And so I definitely know, like from firsthand experience, that this is something that is really close to a lot of people, especially during this time. And I know that the customer journey is different, for each individual in general, but also like specifically for these two groups as well. Can you kind of talk a little bit about like the road to purchase and what that looks like?
Yeah. So in marketing with all of our clients, we always want to start at the foundation of what the marketing plan should be. And that accounts for who are your best audiences. So we just covered two primary best audience groups that we tend to see a lot for home services. Your specific category or subcategory for the people joining the call today might be slightly different. It might be more income. It might be just something outside of an age difference or home ownership in general. But for the most part, that's kind of what we identified. Really, whatever your audience is, you really want to start at the foundation, which is the customer journey, and understanding what are the different touch points that that consumer is using to first off be aware of your brand, understand who you are, what you stand for, and how you compare against other brands in your marketplace. And then when they're doing a little bit more research, whether it's about fixing a leaky roof or unclogging a toilet, so to speak, they're going to go online for a lot of times to research those types of things and find out, how do I fix the problem myself? Usually a lot of people start there and then they figure out, oh, it's a lot more challenging than that. Who can
Yeah.
help me? And so that's kind of then in the consideration phase. Once they have a few different providers in mind, they're going to compare and contrast. That's based on a lot of different factors, but trust and reputation tend to be one of the biggest factors or a couple factors that decide that. And then finally, where are they converting from? What media, what tools are they using? What are they comfortable doing when they're ready to make a phone call, visit somewhere online, fill out a form, really reach out and take action to fix whatever kind of problem they're looking for. So starting with a customer journey is really key to making sure you're accounting for all the different touch points that you should be on and which ones make the most sense to invest in. And we recommend with our clients, there's a couple different ways you can do this. Anecdotally, you can just kind of survey your best customers, understand what they use to hear about your name, where they came from. You can go a little bit deeper than that. You can look at your Google Analytics. A lot of people are doing digital searches. They'll go to your website. There's a lot of information in Google Analytics that you can start to identify what your customers look like, how they get to your website, and what's influencing and where do they actually end up converting. And
Yes.
then finally, just third-party industry research. You can, definitely, if you have a local IQ representative, you can definitely ask your local sales rep for information on that. We're happy to provide tons of different data points to support what your audiences look like, where you should be across the customer journey.
I love that. And I know that, there's differences obviously between the baby boomers versus like your older millennials, and I know this slide kind of depicts what some of those are. And while they have some commonalities between the two groups, can you kind of talk about a little bit about the differences between them, on
Yeah.
a high level overview?
Yeah, so basically looking at these two specific groups, we find that a lot of the channels are somewhat the same in terms of usage, in terms of consumption, where they're consuming media, what tools they're using to do their research, and then also what drives a lead to you ultimately. There are some key differences though between the groups when we look at certain channels. So I want to just start overall, baby boomers really tend to consume more traditional media. However, this year with COVID, we've seen a 30% increase across the boards, all generations, in digital consumption or usage. So people are turning more not only to their TVs, but they're turning to their mobile devices, their connected TVs. They're watching Hulu, Netflix. So they're really expanding their digital usage this year, and we feel like that trend's going to still continue. So it's really just accelerated. But in general, baby boomers still very comfortable with traditional media, things like print media, newspapers, magazines, also TV and radio. When
Yeah.
it comes to conversion though, and that's really important, so it's not just where are they spending their time, but what are the channels that they're going to use to make a decision and then ultimately reach out to a customer or a client in a marketplace. They still tend to traditionally kind of convert more from print media, TV media. They're more comfortable making a phone call, going in person to visit a showroom, or reaching out and having that personal interaction in maybe a in-home visit. So that's still a more comfortable environment for a baby boomer versus converting fully online, filling out a form, giving their credit card information. They're just a little bit more comfortable with that more personal approach. Looking at millennials, it's obviously a digital first type of audience. That's where they're spending most of their time in terms of media consumption. They're going to social media, they're going online, they're watching a lot of online video as well. And when it comes to research or more of the conversion phase, they're really still digital focused. They're doing a lot more PPC searching, paid search, organic search, and they really prefer more of the convenience and the simplicity that online conversions offer. So filling out a form, sending an email, doing a live chat on a website, it's just a quick way where they feel like they have a little bit more control. They're not necessarily being sold to, which I
Yeah.
think is their mentality as well. And they like that. And then they'll have that more in-person conversation about their specific need as they see fit. So it's a little bit more of putting them in control. Now, looking at both groups, we do see it's kind of in that research and consideration phase where there's a lot of similarities. And
Mhm.
that's really what we see is both groups are comfortable going online, doing searches to find different information. They're filling out a keyword request in their search engine. They're going to Google Maps and looking up your location, address information, your hours, if you're open on Sundays, things like that. And
Reviews,
sorry, go ahead, Jen.
your reviews.
Reviews, yes. Reviews is interesting because normally we would think, oh, online reviews are going to be, and they are very strong, but these groups also, they're going to use word of mouth between their friends and family, whether that's in person or online, like social media as well. So having good reviews across the board and making sure they're consistent is very important because those can be very influential in their decision making.
Yeah, and I mean increased search traffic too, like being that it's so high right now, we're seeing a lot of like diverse trends and especially through this consideration phase and through lead generation, right? So what are some of the trends that we're seeing in search that our clients or people on the webinar that are listening right now need to be aware of?
Yeah, I'm glad because that's a huge critical element of most of our home service clients' plans, being in search. Often that's the most attributable platform in terms of understanding your leads, where they're coming from, and what you're paying for them. So your cost of marketing can be really easily accessed or understood by looking at your search results. So a lot of our clients start there. A lot of industries, especially home repair, urgent needs, that might be the only channel that someone turns to make a decision and to fully convert from. So search marketing is critical. Just a few data points around that. We see that most people, about 65%, click on Google Ads when looking to buy an item online. So more than 1 in 2 people already use search to make a purchase decision if they go online. Also, a little bit further than just the last conversion, but more of kind of this consideration phase when people are doing searches, we see that 80% of consumers turn to a search engine when looking for a local business. So it's not just a last touch attribution channel, it's really a channel that should be servicing your customers wherever they are in the entire journey. And then finally, we also see mobile search, especially this year picking up. People are stuck at home, they're more likely to do their search today on a mobile device, a smartphone, a tablet, versus a desktop or a laptop computer. So those are all like key reasons why search marketing still makes sense. Probably don't need to evangelize to the folks on the call today. They probably are doing search. what I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about is really the search trends that we're seeing. And it's really interesting. So if we look at this chart, we looked at the last 5 years of search behavior on Google using Google Trends reporting. And we looked at two key things here. One was home improvement topic. Those are keywords that would fall under home improvement when someone's searching like home remodel, new bathtub, that would fall into there. That's the blue line on this chart. The red line, is the home repair. And those are probably the more immediate searches. Things like my HVAC system just went out, I need to get it fixed.
Okay.
So home repair is a little bit more of an immediate need type of search. In both cases, this year in 2020, it did take a hit in March when a lot of people were restricted because of at-home restrictions, but then it really picked up because of, again, that focus on their homes. So we saw almost a doubling of search volume just within this year. And you can kind of see that on the chart here, how it really ramps up in 2020.
Yeah.
Now, more specifically, I'm going to turn this over to Jen for a second because she helped pull some of these stats. It was incredible looking at the subcategories of search. Certain categories really saw a huge increase.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was doing like research for the content for the webinar and really studying everything to make sure we gave all of you the best insights, in looking at Google Trends, I thought it was so phenomenal that where local home improvement services in general is up in search 5,000%. 5,000%. That's just like mind blowing. And that this was done just one day ago, you guys. 600% for HVAC unit replacement costs. And keyword here is near me. So that's a really good key phrase that a lot of people are searching for. I know that's something that I utilize all the time in my search. So doing like geofencing and targeting type of advertising is also really important. And then 50% search increase for just landscaping stores. And I'm telling you, this was just as of literally yesterday. And I know that we tend to see a dip within that market or within the home services industry during the winter times, but people are clearly still searching for stuff right now, which to me is really incredible. And I think it allows us to really focus on, smarter search strategies, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And so when we see a large volume of search, obviously that's good for your PPC campaigns. There's going to be a large inventory of people who are looking for your type of product or service. However, we need to be smart about generating leads from that large amount, because just because you're delivering a lot of clicks to your website, not all of them will necessarily convert to a lead, and you're paying for all of those clicks. So in a lot of cases, we do see this across the board with a lot of clients in their PPC campaigns, where they're really optimizing or measuring based on a click versus a lead or a cost per acquisition. And where that can hurt you is, while you still can drive a large volume of clicks to your website, you're paying for those clicks whether they convert or not. So we want to make sure, if you're setting up your PPC campaigns or paid search, you're really looking at the last stage of it's a lead, you can assign a cost to it, or it's an acquisition, you can assign a sales figure to it.
I want to
And
just
it's,
pause
yeah,
you
go ahead, Jen.
second, Eric. I actually want to ask everybody that's on today, if you guys are doing search advertising, have you noticed like you're getting an influx of leads, but maybe they're not the right demographic or target audience for you? How many of you feel that way? And if you just say yes, if you do, no, if you don't, I'm just curious to see. Yes, no, no, yes. Okay. I'm sure there's more people on than this, guys. And don't be shy. Like, this is definitely an area that is difficult for a lot of people to maintain themselves, for sure. And or if you're working with a marketing partner, whether it's with us or somebody else, I'm just curious to see, if you are getting a ton of leads in because of that increased search volume, do you ever feel like maybe not every single person is your exact audience member? So we have a little bit of an average of yes and no, but I think that's
Mhm.
pretty interesting to kind of understand, because you definitely want to be able to get an ROI behind that lead and behind the search strategy that you're creating. So sorry to interrupt you, Eric. I just figured I would ask everybody
No,
that.
it's great to
Great.
hear that. It's great, and it is a challenging process, and it's something you do have to pay attention to on a regular basis to make sure that you're really drawing the quality of leads that you need. So again, while search volume is high right now, it can be kind of a bad thing if you're driving a lot of leads to your website that don't convert. And there's a couple of reasons why, a little bit more in the weeds here. When Google sees your content and they see a bunch of leads coming to it but not converting, so people are coming to your website, Google assigns a bid score and a quality score and an ad rank based on that factor. So they're going to ding you, or make sure it's going to increase your bid rate. It's also going to increase your or decrease your quality score and your ad ranking where you appear on that page if you're not converting more of that traffic. And so that's also something you just need to keep an eye on. If you are driving a lot of leads to your website and they aren't converting, that can actually hurt you as well as just not drawing enough quality leads. So that's, again, something we want to keep our eyes on. We want to make sure we're assigning an ROI to more of a cost per lead or cost per acquisition measure versus just a pure click measure. The other thing we can do to harness any kind of, let's call them warm leads, people who come to your website but don't fully convert but might spend some time on your website looking around. This is probably indicative of someone who's just doing research. They're not ready to buy, or it's off season. Maybe for right now, they're thinking in the summer of installing a new deck. They're doing some price quotes. They're shopping around. They're not necessarily ready to reach out right now because it's winter time. It might be hard to install a deck in the winter. This is still a good lead to nurture over time. So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can make sure that we're really tracking the entire buyer journey to understand what touch points brought them there. And then we're also using things like site retargeting or search retargeting to get in front of those leads as they continue to do their research and continue to kind of be reminded of your brand and what you offer. So when they are ready to convert, your cost per click or your cost per lead ultimately will be a lot more efficient by keeping in front of that type of audience. And because we have a large volume of people coming, we have a little bit more data and insights to really understand who those best groups are to kind of keep reaching out to. And then finally, this is something we do with a lot of our customers. We have the ability to, in Google Analytics, set up affinity groups, which then understand the search behaviors, the data, the demographics of the people who are tend to click on your pay-per-click ads, what they look like and what they're doing on your website, and whether they'd be good segments to continue to reach out to, not only through search again, but on other channels. And this includes things like social media. So with Facebook ads, we can actually take that search data and create lookalike audiences to target those same groups across different websites and social media as well. And then also even offline, like things through direct mail, we can actually identify the demographic behaviors, the geographic behaviors where these people are that look like your best customers who tend to come to your website, and then also find more of them. So it really extends, because we have this huge volume of search going on, all the different things we can do to just kind of make that more efficient and smarter.
I love that. Thank you so much, Eric. That's so insightful. And I know that kind of talking about all these different, channel marketing and where to put your information out there, it can be overwhelming and also make you kind of wonder, how do you stand out within a crowded marketplace? So I'd love to bring your counterpart on, Taylor Bailey, who is regional sales manager for our Performance IQ department of our company here at Gannett. And hi, Taylor.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good.
Hey, so I'd love to ask, what else beyond search marketing should home service companies do to really differentiate themselves from the competition?
Yeah, there's quite a few things, but if you're in that PPC funnel and you are getting those search leads, I think something that we could really do as a group is really focus on putting your content where people are searching for you, and then also a multi-touch or a frequency type of targeted content place. So maybe that's a drip campaign within a social campaign, or offline tactics, or a secondary thing. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. Also, if you're eligible, there's certain types of companies, and we offer that within Performance IQ, that you can also do a performance or a direct attribution type campaign. And those are all things that we would recommend to add in more leads and capitalize on what you're seeing from a PPC campaign at this time.
Okay,
and
great.
Jen, I can jump in on this slide as well. Just some data points from our Gannett has done a home services research study a couple years ago, and we use this data with all of our clients to kind of share more specific insights with different categories, just to validate the approach. So search, critical element to be running your campaigns on, but also they have the ability to get in front of the consumer mindset earlier on. It's just going to make everything a little bit more efficient. And we found that the data really backed this up. When we talked to our clients, customers, we understood that at the beginning of any kind of project where they were making decision, only about 1 in 2, about 50% had about 2 providers in mind. So, in certain categories, 2 providers is very small, especially like, let's say HVAC. There's 1 million providers locally in a lot of cases. So only having 2 in mind, if you're not in that mindset, they're not going to necessarily be looking for you. They're not going to be understanding your brand and looking you up when they're doing their searching. So there's a good chance you'll never be part of their consideration set. Even more critically, we see that when they actually do reach out for information from different providers, again, only about 1 in 2 will actually contact 1 or 2 providers for that information. So a lot of times, about 1 in 2, they're not considering any other brands other than the first 2 that they thought of. So if you're only waiting until the PPC to get in front of your best consumers, it might be too late in a lot of cases. The other key things we saw that influenced purchase decision were trust and reputation. It wasn't necessarily price or affordability or a good deal. It really was trust and reputation were the top factors. And trust and reputation, again, only really come into play along the consumer journey. So up front, with your brand building, brand engagement, and when they're doing that research and consideration, they need to see that type of messaging that builds that trust and reputation. And that, again, will ultimately help them convert better for you.
I love that. Thank you. So Eric, can you talk a little bit about like how, even more so how you can stand out in that crowded marketplace through all the different like funnels of marketing?
Yeah, so just again, touching on it, getting in that consumer's mindset earlier on in their journey is really going to be key. So it involves top of mind awareness through strong branding, persuasive messaging that's delivered again through non-advertising channels, because a lot of times these consumers aren't looking for a sales pitch right away, especially with long-term purchase decisions. They're looking to build up their education. They're looking to be inspired to act and to think big about a home remodel project. So these are all different ways we can be a little bit more influential in terms of persuading the customer to think of your brand during that journey. So it involves things like social media. It involves things like branded content. Again, PPC can also be used with more of a kind of research phase instead of a direct conversion phase to make sure you're answering the right questions that these people are asking during that journey. So ultimately, building a relationship through your content, whether it's inspirational, educational, or even just entertaining, keeps you top of mind, and it really connects you deeper with the consumers. I know Taylor's on the call today, and she's really worked with a lot of our clients directly on setting up some of these different types of tactics and programs. Taylor, what emerging tactics do you often see in our home service clients, and what they're using to help stand out from the competition?
Yeah, always we start first and foremost where we can with some type of direct attribution or performance campaign. We really stand behind the mutual partnership that it builds with the client. Secondarily, from there, we always want to make sure that your PPC campaigns are set up properly, capturing those affinity audiences and really working for you. And then from there, when you take this content that's branded around what your business does, putting that in a scenario where people are able to see it, or they're looking, like in a social scenario, you're looking for content on social. When you're watching Hulu and Netflix and YouTube, you're getting content and expecting to see it. Putting that message in front of a highly targeted audience at that time is a really great way to stand out and also maintain brand reputation for your brand in that crowded marketplace, and avoid some of that backlog if you are just in search.
I love
Definitely.
it. We just got some good feedback too from someone that says that's a great point. People do business with others that they trust. And I think that this kind of like leads to our next point, right? Is, how do you stand out even more through like the creativity within your branding and really make that emotional connection, because I know that in meeting with a lot of people within the home services industry, they're always struggling with that creative branding and creative marketing. How is it that I get my business out there if I'm a, HVAC unit company? Like, what is emotional about that? And I'm like, there's so many things. Like, I could tell you what it means to have an HVAC unit in your home. That's emotional connection, right? So how can we like best market that? So, so Eric, I'd
Yeah.
love to get your opinion on that as well.
Great point. So it's that emotional connection. It's that X factor, I call it. So it's not just relying on a marketing that gets in front with an offer and a phone number. It's getting in their mindset way before then, even before they start the consumer journey. A strong brand presence, it almost adds that built-in credibility, that built-in trust. The people understand what your brand stands for, when to reach out, when to talk, when they're talking with their friends and family, how to refer to you as why you're a great provider. That's all branding. And that can't be built on just one single tactic. That really needs to be built across the whole customer journey, across those different touch points. So just a couple things to really talk about here. It's the most successful businesses have brands that are memorable, unique, and engaging. I'm sure we can all think of brands we love and trust in our lives. They work to proactively brand themselves as experts in their marketplace. Again, being an expert in the home services category is critical. You don't want someone who doesn't understand what they're doing coming into your home and messing things up. Everyone probably has an experience like that too, that they think of, oh, I don't want that person in here. So
Yeah.
you don't want to be that. You want to have a strong brand that's pretty much the opposite of that. And then it's going to help influence their decision making when they're considering your brands, how they're researching your brands. Again, the referrals, that's a strong category of leads from this category. So branding all plays a strong role in that. And we've seen research that supports it can increase your revenue by 33% by having a consistent brand presence across that customer journey. So it helps even lift those leads and ultimately those conversions.
I love it. And I love that we saved, generating leads and increasing leads for last. So first, I want to thank you, Eric, so much for your time. Now it's going to be us ladies for the rest of the call. But I think that everything that you presented was really amazing. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And now, you guys, we're going to wrap up with getting into increasing leads, even when you're busy, with Ms. Taylor Bailey. And I'm so excited for this part, Taylor, because this is, I feel like, the meat and potatoes of what everybody's really wanting to hear about is how do we make more money from money that we already are putting into our business. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything we just talked through was really a way of how to nurture a lead. And you can see on the stat here that we pulled, when you nurture that lead, they tend to make a 47% larger purchase. So spending some time really cultivating the right type of lead will make you more money in the long run anyways. But within local IQ and especially performance IQ and everything we do at, Gannett as a whole, we really work to strive and stand up programs that will continue to have leads that make you more leads. Whether that be with a portion of the campaign that starts off being based on attribution or a performance type, taking that lead that's already in your ideal audience, hyper targeted, is already nurtured, making sure it's really quality, and having that lead turn into more sales, and then really giving that sale legs, if you will, and letting it kind of walk around on your behalf and refer back to you, capture you word of mouth. If you can find a way to do that within your organization where we're able to refer back, you're really standing up a whole new revenue stream within your business. And if you can do it in a scenario where you're only paying for that attribution on the front end, it's a very wise way to grow and do what you do best, but make sure that every time you're interacting with a customer, you have the highest potential available to close them and make sure that your efforts are returning the highest ROI back to you.
I have like goosebumps from you saying that, because it just makes me super excited about, taking business that you already have and turning it into more business. And you and I talked a lot about referral marketing and how that creates, 3 to 5 times more conversions than any other type of marketing channel. So it's so important to have your business really buttoned up from top to bottom, and making sure that customers that are coming to your site or coming to your app or coming to your page, or however they find you that first find, that their experience is really authentic and genuine and seamless even more now, right? Because people want things and they want them now. So it's not just about, showing up in all of the right places, or just having this pretty logo or pretty site. It's about the customer journey and experience that they have while they're on your site and they're looking to book with you. Are you responding in real time? How do you follow up with them after the service? Do you send them a survey to get feedback and information and then implement changes? And then also, are you asking them to make referrals, and do you have a referral program set up in place, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we all know the mantra work smarter, not work harder. There's no reason that shouldn't apply within your company's marketing budget as well. If you can make your leads make you money and work for you, that's a really great use of everyone's time. It's a great use of your dollars spent. And I think really working through here, a performance campaign, nurturing those leads, having them hyper targeted are all super informative ways to make sure that your marketing budget is also working smarter and not harder and generating a higher ROI.
That's one of my favorite saying. Let's work smarter, not harder. And as you guys see at the bottom of the screen, this is just a really high level example. This is from a payment processing system, obviously not a home service business, but you can see that you get a free sign up. They refer you to somebody else. That referral keeps you earning, them earning, and then everybody's happy. So really implementing that is super important. And in the workbook you guys are going to receive after the webinar, we break down even more what that referral and experience basis is, so you guys can look at some of those additional ideas. But as we're getting all of these leads, Taylor, and we're getting this influx of people coming in, I know that it can be overwhelming to me having to check all of my DMs and check all of my emails and check all of my marketing list and my analytics and doing all of those things. And we talked a lot about how to automate your business in order to keep it more efficient. Can you talk a little bit about how messaging and automation can really help streamline some of those processes?
Yeah, anytime that you can keep your lead or your funnel source in one place or have it tracked, it's always going to be really helpful to you. If it's something you can do internally on your own, that's wonderful. I know it can be hard to stand up. We at Local IQ and within Performance Campaign or Performance IQ and all of our campaigns, we offer this type of technology to ensure that everything we drive you or everything that we're driving to your business from our campaigns is tracked. We're able to see the outcome of that. We're able to do that with our omni-channel marketing as well and ensure that we're tracking every piece of it. We're also able to work with you on certain tactics and even work through what happened with that lead. Did it turn into an appointment? Did it turn into a sale? Here's your ROI for your penny spent. But this is all a very helpful way to look at these in one way or one view to ensure that you're seeing everything at once, and then how to keep mimicking what good looks like as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's important to note too that these are things that are important whether you work with us or whether you work with someone else or you're maintaining it yourself. I know that we definitely recommend working with an experienced marketing partner to have the most value here. So make sure that these are some of the things that are checking off your list. And in doing all of these things, I know that holistically our company as a whole has had a lot of power in the lead generation phase. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? I know we have these big numbers on here and it's exciting, but what does this mean?
Yeah, so the power of lead generation, this really calls it out. Since inception, we have had 32 million leads in the home service industry driven through all of our platforms to customers that would be beneficial from the call today. To go a step further and really talk a little bit about our performance campaigns and our Performance IQ, within the last 2 years, we've generated 148,000 leads under that umbrella. And to go a step further, that Jen, I know we looked at this yesterday. This year to date until September, we actually generated 74,000 of those leads, about 48% this year alone within the first 9 months of the year. So it is, campaigns are working right now. We're driving leads. We really strive to adhere to that quality lead as well. We want your phone to ring with people that are going to be beneficial to you. And we're really proud of these numbers to push out because we think that they're helping your business, once again, work smarter and not harder, but within our tactics that they're very proven in terms of the lead volume given.
I love it. Thank you so much, Taylor. We're going to just bring it full circle now, you guys, and go over just a couple of the key takeaways that we did. And Taylor, if you would help me go over these key takeaways really quick, high level. I know that we talked a lot about there's a lot more people online and home than ever, and how that's really increasing search volumes. It's making the customer journey change, but also causing people within the home service industry to spend so much more money. And then also we've talked a lot about, not everyone is your target audience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sometimes people feel bad saying that, but there's a certain scenario where, 30-year-olds at a certain amount might not be your demographic, but 35-year-olds are. And being able, once again, which we do very well at Local IQ, to target your audience in every type of facet of our program and make sure that you're reaching millennials and baby boomers accordingly is something that we would really encourage you to do, and something we do very well on your behalf as well.
Yeah. And so finding a way to be able to connect with millennials, I know a lot of business owners struggle with that because they're not as familiar with digital. So making sure you have a marketing partner that is doing that as well. And then combining your digital advertising with prints is going to boost your lead generation and flow as well, because you'll be hitting both of those demographics for sure. And then last but not least, that really impactful referral program and having that messaging and automation platform to help kind of seal the deal and create efficiency within your business. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. I appreciate you hopping on today. And you guys, as we bring this webinar to a close, we believe here at, Gannett Local IQ, Reach Local, that we want to be able to take action right away. And so in combination with our digital marketing services, creative services, campaign management teams, our programs provide really comprehensive solutions for all marketing channels in one place, in one integrated team. And that's really what we're looking to do. So we have this really awesome feature within our company where we can actually grade your business and see how you rank right now, where you're showing up, where you're not showing up. And it's absolutely free to you. It's just a tool that we have to run you through our system. And with that, we can provide you with a free marketing plan on what you should be focusing on for 2021. It's completely free to all of you guys. So at the end of this webinar, you'll receive a little survey. If you're interested in doing that, no charge to you, please click that button and we'd be happy to do that for you. And also let you know, like, if you are working with another marketing partner, how we can help improve you if it's something that you would like. After the webinar, keep in mind, we're going to send out an email to announce the winner of the $500 giveaway. You'll also be receiving a workbook, and on that workbook, on the front cover, it is clickable, and that will be the webinar recording. So please be sure to look out for that within the next day. You should have it by end of day today or no later than tomorrow morning. And don't forget to talk to some of your local reps about some of these as well. Thank you guys so much for being on the call today, taking time out of your busy day. If you do have any questions, feel free to send us an email or get with your local marketing partner, and we'd be sure to help you guys out. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and happy holidays.